Well, hey guys, hi, Brent Abel here, webtennis.com. What is going on out there today? I'm going to hang just kind of blah, blah, blah for just a few seconds here, let a few folks jump on. Today's topic, we're going to talk about the mindset of your topspin second serve, and specifically, how do you want to be thinking after you miss that first serve? And I've got a couple of ideas here for you because really how you set up mentally for your topspin second serve is really going to help you in terms of the technique execution. So, look, before we get going today, the chat is wide open. Go ahead and just bang away. Where are you today? Who are you? What's going on out there today? And anything that's on your mind in terms of your tennis game, go ahead and type it in. But more specifically about your topspin second serve, is there some part of it that you're still trying to figure out? And so, look, let's talk about mindset. And so, what normally happens, right? You go for a first serve, you miss it, and kind of one of three thoughts enters your mind for most players. And I used to be kind of guilty of this myself. Is that number one is that you kind of go, oh, well, look, I really hope I don't double fault, right? I just don't want to double fault. Or secondly, we start thinking, well, okay, even if I get it in, just kind of throw it in there. I want to make sure that it just doesn't sit up fat for the returner, right? And especially in doubles, right, where you're thinking, I don't want to get my partner killed. But the third thing could be, whether it's singles or doubles, is are you going to be able to handle the return? Are you going to be able to, kind of stay in the point and not continue to make it worse, right? It's one thing to not double fault, throw it in there, and it kind of sits up and gives that returner the advantage, and they kind of take control, right? They put a lot of pressure on you. And then your next shot after that gives them even more of an opportunity. So, look, I mean, those are all negative thoughts, right? And so we don't want to start off the second serve with a negative mindset, right? Any one of those three things, right? Don't want to double fault, don't want to throw in a fat sitter, and certainly don't want to throw in, even if it's a decent second serve, where I'm worried about being able to stay in the point on the next shot that you got to handle. So, look, for me, it's really about changing that mindset, and all this stuff is habit building, right? So what I've found, especially in big matches, international matches, that it's a big point, and I miss that first serve, and I've got to make sure that I start off the second serve with a really positive mindset, so that when I play the point, I've got a level of confidence, just like I might when I get the first serve in play, and that's really, really important. So here are a couple things that you can do. Is at least this is what I do, and you can try for yourself. Is right after you miss that first serve, go ahead and just kind of tell yourself, okay, opportunity time. What kind of topspin second serve I'm going to play here? And typically for me, I'm going to play. All that I'm thinking about is I just want to get a big high bounce out of it and not give that returner a real clean look at it. I assume it's coming back, and that's okay, right? I assume that they're going to get it back. So I don't put pressure on myself, number one, to end the point or feel like I need to end the point with that second serve. And what that means technically is I'm going to take a little bit more time as I finish the serve. Too often what I see is, technique-wise, players rush through the second serve, especially the finish part of it, because they don't want to be involved in the second serve. So they just kind of get rid of the ball. And that's when we get double faults. That's when we don't get much of the ball in terms of spin, and it doesn't do what we want. It just kind of sits up. So look, as soon as you miss that first serve, it's not a negative. Turn it into a positive, and turn it into, okay, well, look, either the first serve was going to be a little bit more power in terms of a straighter line. Maybe if I hit a corner, it would do some damage. But I'm assuming that this second serve return is coming back. So if that's the case, how do I want to force that returner to have to play their second serve? Well, for me, I'm just trying to get the ball up to them, right? And sometimes, yeah, you throw in a nice little, get a little bit more, a little bit better, ends up being kind of a kicker, and that's fine. But my intention is never, hey, I have to hit a kick serve or else I'm going to be in trouble. I'm just going to play a nice high bouncer where I'm assuming that it's coming back, right? And if it's a high bouncer, gets up and out of their strike zone, then what? You're fine. The other thing too is I serve a lot of second serves to the body, right? I want to force that returner to feel that they've got to get out of the way. They've got to perform some footwork, right? Maybe sometimes in the ad side, if I've got a right-handed player over there, and I'm not saying their backhand is weaker, but they can't do as much damage. I mean, the backhand might be, super consistent once we get in the rally. But in terms of that return to serve, they may not be able to do as much damage with it. I'm assuming it's coming back, right? Just like we said before. And so I'm going to go ahead and throw it in the backhand, the ad side, and just kind of take my chances from there. Sometimes I'll take a second serve and swing them out right in the deuce court, only because if they've got a big forehand and I get them out there wide in that deuce court, that deuce side alley, most players want to man up and hit the crap out of it. And I'm okay with that. I mean, look, if they can drill it cross court sharp angle, more power to them. If they can go up the line and just barely get it in, fine, more power to them. But the chances are that most players are going to go over there. They're going to hit it. They're going to hit it well. But now if I step in, if I don't step back, if I step inside the baseline, guess what? I've now got the ball and they're kind of hung out to dry. And I'm just going to throw it in the open court and just come on in and then just say, come on, go ahead and pass me. If you can pass me, great, right? So start thinking of your second serve as really, it's not a negative. It's actually a real positive in terms of the type of serve that you can throw in there to, at worst case, neutralize the point, right? Don't give them an advantage, but really start to practically, I would never hype it and say, you'll never double fault again, because we're always going to double fault again somewhere down the road. The whole idea here is just to have enough high quality spin so it safely gets over the top of the net and doesn't sit up, right? It actually has a little bit of bounce to it. But again, assuming that it's going to come back, and that's totally okay. And look, if your game is at a point right now where you don't want the ball to come back because you don't trust the rest of your game, then the thing that you don't need to work on is your second serve. The thing you need to work on is that shot after your second serve so that you can really start to trust that it's okay. It's okay if that second serve return comes back. So I just saw a comment here. I even use it as a first serve at times, just flatter. Yeah. Well, look, I use my second serve as a first serve, not so much flatter, but I use it to kind of I use it to kind of bounce the ball up and give that returner a different look. And especially in doubles, if I'm serving to a guy where my first serve is a little bit flatter and easier to read and less to do because the ball is right around waist high, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and throw in more of a kicker for that first serve so that in doubles I can get in. I can get a step in closer and be able to deal with that first shot, whether that's, a half volley, a volley, or maybe I put the brakes on early and just play a standard approach shot. But I just want you guys to make sure that when you miss your first serve, you immediately don't go into a negative mindset of, oh man, please do not let me double fault. This would be, this is not what I wanted. Well, look, as soon as you tell yourself, please don't double fault, the chances start to go up that you're going to. The other thing is that we think, well, look, I don't want to double fault, obviously, but I don't want the ball to sit up, right? Because I'm afraid the guy's going to unload. And then the third thing is I'm kind of concerned that I can't trust if it comes back what I'm going to do with it. So those are kind of three negative thoughts. And those few seconds that you've got after missing that first serve, you got to get reorganized. And you cannot go into that negative mindset, one of those three thoughts or even something else. You've really got to start to think to yourself, how can I turn this into a positive? And if that means that you need to go out there and work more on on just kind of a high bouncer, right? Then look, I'll tell you what I've got is, I think down below in the description area, there is a link for a short little free course that I've got from my Topspin second serve that kind of answers some of the questions about how do you get that combination of power and spin, right? A lot of players get power, but they have no spin to be able to control it. A lot of players have too much spin and the ball just sits up over there. So if you have not picked up that free course, again, no charge for it. It is a short course. We just kind of get right to it. I'm not going to throw you out, something for a couple hours where you got to go through it and it's just a bunch of fluff. It's a pretty short course. I think it's about 12 or 15 minutes, and it's going to show you really what are the real keys to being able to get a topspin second serve that's got some power. And power doesn't mean that you're going to blow the guy off the ace. Power just means you're getting a high quality spin that does those two things we need to do, right? Number one, safely get it over the top of the net. But number two, have it land and bounce in such a way that it gets up on that returner. Let me take a quick look here at the comments. My topspin server is reliable under control, but it doesn't kick up high like I would like it to. Strings, racket weight. Yeah, it could be. It could be strings or racket weight, but I'll tell you this. If you've got the toss in the right spot, and if you pick up my course, you're going to discover that I don't think that the toss should be back behind you, and you're going to see in the course exactly why. But in terms of getting more kick, our instincts tell us to kind of get strong, to kind of muscle up. And if we get too much grip tension, what happens is the racket speed slows down. And if the racket speed slows down, then the quality spin that you can impart slows down as well. It's just not as good. So, think of it like, well, how could I relax my grip tension to be able to produce more racket speed? That's really what you're looking for. Is you're looking for racket speed. You're not looking for strength. Flexibility, body flexibility is a great thing to have on a topspin second serve. And again, not because I'm going to coach you to have that toss way back behind your head, because I'm not, for a couple of reasons. So if you haven't picked up that course yet, just go over to webtennis.com. The link is in the description area. And just put in a first name, email address. You'll get immediate access to it. And again, it's a short course. I'm not going to mess around with it. It's just about 12 or 15 minutes, and we go through. I think it's 3 things that I think you've got to have. And look, if you're a young dude out there and you get these 3 things going, you can develop a really nasty, high bouncing kicker, and that is almost unpredictable, right? What else we got here? Yeah, it doesn't kick up high. Yeah, so I hope that helps. What else is going on, guys? Anything going on with your serve or any other part of your game that is kind of top of mind right now? Is there one thing that maybe you just are still trying to figure out, that, if you could figure out that one part of your game, and again, it could be technique, it could be tactics, it could be strategy, it could be physical. Do you need to get a little bit more realistic about the physical fitness part of the game, and how, even if you did nothing more working on your technique or working on your tactics and strategy, if you got fitter, would that help in terms of quickness, in terms of seeing the ball better, right? I mean, fitness for me, my whole routine in fitness is based on being able to visually track a moving tennis ball as I'm on the move as well. And look, a lot of, I don't know if you've ever heard that, but I mean, for me, that is the most important part of fitness training. And so, right, any kind of quickness, any kind of endurance you can add to that, that's great. But you got to figure out, how are you going to move on the court so your head stays completely still as you're moving, so your eyes are not bouncing up and down as you're moving on the court. Because once they start bouncing up and down, you can't visually track the ball. And all that adds up to not having good spacing to the incoming path of the ball, not having good timing. So how much, let me see here from Neil, good question. How much should the upper body rotate into the ball on the second serve? Well, yeah, I mean, It does rotate, but here's a little something to be thinking about is that if you rotate in too early, if you get your shoulders coming out of your sideways position, right? So when we toss, we kind of get sideways to the whole service box we're serving to. But if you get those shoulders to rotate in too early, you know what happens is now if you get a quality spin, it's really kind of more of a side spin. You're not really allowing the racket to go, up the backside of the ball to be able to get the up spin that we want, the top spin that we want, right? So I feel for me, and look, I'm an older dude, and I've got a decent top spin second serve. I've got pretty good flexibility for my age, but the more you can get sideways, the more you can turn, and the better, because you just get more of a rotation coming around, and the combination of the rotation and a nice relaxed hand on the grip tension, moving your shoulder up into the racket shoulder to kind of initiate the swing, getting a little bit of jump on it. I mean, I know like some guys will say, well, you don't need to jump. That's fine. Whatever works best for you. But for me, I find I need to get a little bit of lift. And the more you can do that, that all adds up to how much flexibility can you develop in your body. And the more flexibility, even if you're an old dude like me, the more, and I spend a lot of time on that, right? I spend a lot of time on lower back flexibility, a lot of time on shoulder flexibility, and not so much just brute strength, because the brute strength is not the thing that really accelerates the racket. So again, if you've not picked up that Topspin second serve course I've got for you, again, it's complimentary. It's a short course, about 12 to 15 minutes. Just go over to webtennis.com. And I'm not even sure I can type it in here. Let's see if it'll let me do that for you. I can type it in, but I don't know if it'll hyperlink. You know what? It looked like it did. So that's good. Neil, old dude, good for you, man. Good for you. Doctor, good to hear from you. And I appreciate your comments yesterday on the video yesterday about I think mostly my back end that we were showing. So again, if you're jumping on late here, what we're working on is that mindset after you miss your first serve, and you've got, there's no rule that says that you've got a set time between your first and second serves, but a lot of players, once they miss that first serve, they view it as a negative, as an error. And I used to do that, but I don't do that anymore. I don't look at my second serve as a negative, as, well, I've missed my first serve, so now I've got to hit kind of a worse quality serve for my next serve. And it's like, well, God, I sure hope I don't double fault. I sure hope I don't throw in a fat sitter. And number three is I hope that whatever shot they hit back, that my forehand or my backhand or whatever it is that I'm playing is good enough to hold up to that pressure. Any one of those thoughts is, and even a fourth thought might be, and I've been guilty of this, where I go, okay, well, I can get it in play, but boy, I sure hope that they miss. I really hope that they miss this shot, because I don't want to deal. Right? So that's kind of the hope strategy. It's not a winning strategy. So again, find a way to turn that second serve. As soon as you miss your first, mentally start thinking, how can I turn this into a positive? And for me, it's just number one, well, I'm assuming it's coming back. That's okay. I don't have a problem with that. Right? So that negative thought's gone. I don't think I'm a double fault, because my second serve technique is good enough that I rarely double fault. The next thing is, I know I can make it bounce up, because again, the technique's good enough where I know I can get it safely over the top of the net and have it bounce up. So I don't really look at it as a negative. And again, you need to check yourself. Next time you go out there and you play and you miss your first serve, be aware of what are your thoughts that are going on. And if there's kind of like, now I'm kind of hoping, I hope I don't double fault. I hope it doesn't sit up. Kind of hope it doesn't come back. I kind of hope they don't hit it maybe to my forehand or backhand or whatever. we gotta change that mindset for you. So let me take a look at the comments here. And guys, listen, I really appreciate you jumping on. I don't know where you guys are today. It's a Saturday afternoon here in the desert. Got a little rain here today, which is kind of rare, but my wife, Maya, and I got out for about 35 minutes and had a really good workout, did some sprints, did some other stuff. Neil, you're welcome. Tennis Paris Brothers, what's up? Neil, I think I already said, hi, I'm an old dude. Okay, your opinion, Tennis Paris Brothers. I would say that high ball toss slightly left and reach up to the ball, which would increase his topspin. It does, but for certain players like myself, I put my toss in a different spot. I don't put it behind me. I don't put it to my left. I'm a right-handed player. I don't put it really on top of myself. I actually, and I know this kind of goes against the grain of all the coaching out there, but I actually put it slightly in front. So if I wouldn't hit it, it would actually bounce inside the baseline, maybe a foot or so inside the baseline. And, there's a couple good reasons why I want the toss there. I do have to make sure, like we talked about before, that my shoulders don't open up too early because I don't want to get a side spin. I want to get an up spin. So in that free course I've got for you guys over at webtennis.com, I go into pretty good detail about why I put the toss where I want, and then what's my body alignment at contact so I can get the top spin, the up spin that I want. So it does have a nice high safe margin over the top of the net, but also it does kick up and bounce. And Doctor, I enjoy my second, kick it with confidence and reliability. Good man. Love it. As young Tennis Paris Brothers, as young national players from UK, we are focusing on reaching up more and being more accurate. Yeah, that's good. When you talk about reaching up, what I feel is when I reach up, I initiate the upswing part with my racket shoulder. And what I've discovered over the last, I don't know how many years or decades, that when I initiate the swing by starting it up with the shoulder, I get a lot more pop. I get a lot more racket speed because the racket behind me now is kind of going through, the biomechanics or whatever it is that starts in that extra little nanosecond to really build up some racket speed, rather than just getting into the finishing of the toss position and kind of reaching up with a hand, even if you're kind of getting up there with the knees and the legs. Think about using your racket shoulder as that thing that initiates the upswing. What's up, vegan o Mexicano? What do we got here? Duke from Nicetown. This after helping somebody have a great day. Atta babe. Good for you. Good for you. Your day. Well, maybe this is the reciprocal part. You went out there and helped someone have a great day, and now you come back here and hopefully you're getting a nugget or two off of this little live thing with you on YouTube today. Tennis Paris Bros, you're welcome. Are you guys playing tennis here? The courts are closed due to pandemic. Yeah, well, I don't know about you guys, but here in Mission Hills Country Club, Rancho Mirage, California, the California desert, we're wide open. The tennis courts are wide open, and we're outdoors. I don't know if that makes a difference. I just came from Colorado, where we spend some time there, and outdoors is fine, but you had to wear a mask indoors if you were playing doubles. If you're playing singles, you were okay. So guys, look, you know what I'd love for you, and we don't have many guys. I think there's maybe 8 people on here or something like that. That's cool. What I would love to read in the comments right now is, how can I better help you guys with your tennis? Is it, are you a player? Are you a coach? Where are you in your tennis? What's your rating? What's your ranking? What's your age group? What's that one thing that you really, really want to kind of work on? I'm really looking to try to help tennis teaching pros and coaches as well. I mean, I've been doing this thing for almost 50 years in terms of a tennis teaching and coaching career. Obviously, I still love to play, still competing on the international level. And so, all right. By the way, virus can't survive outdoors after a few minutes, and that's good to know, Doc. Thank you. Um, all right, guys. Well, look. So here's a couple things. Um, let's see. Hold on for 1 sec. Let me get one more thing going here. Yeah. I had one other thing for you. Well, listen. I've told you about my course. I'm going to type it back in then again. It's a free course for your top, specifically for your Topspin second serve. And there it is. Just click the link, get signed up, first name, email address, and you get immediate access to the course. If you have any problems, just shoot me an email, brent@webtennis.com. Here's the email. Yeah, how can I help you guys? Is maybe you need a little more help on the Topspin second serve. For sure, try the course first, and then just shoot me an email with any more questions. Maybe there's another another area of your game that you want some help with. Would love to find out what that is. Don't know if I can help you, but I'll tell you what's worked for me over the years in terms of teaching and coaching and playing. Right, 11 national USA gold balls so far, singles and doubles so far being the operative part of that. I'm still playing. I'm still competing. And then what else have I got for you? Health and fitness. For me over the last 7+ months, I've figured out without having to take any more ibuprofen how to get off of that, because all the tennis I play, all the working out I do, just causes a lot of inflammation in my body. And I've found kind of an organic, natural way of being able to, I haven't had any ibuprofen now in about 7 months. So, if you need any advice on health, could be losing weight, could be, as like we talked about, inflammation, could be energy, could be clarity, could be a whole host of things, let me know. Again, brent@webtennis.com. The other thing too is that if you're looking for an idea or two, especially if you're in the tennis industry and you've been hit with the pandemic and COVID, to where your teaching has been limited, your income has been limited, I got a couple ideas for you in terms of a little side income thing that might have some interest for you. If not, that's totally cool. But you could. The dog just came back from a little hike with my wife. Everyone's back in town. So guys, what else? I guess that's it, man. Guess that is it. Let me make sure I don't miss any of the. Okay, Neil's asking you change reps slightly between first and second serve. Well, Neil, I would tell you that if I do, I don't think about it. It's not conscious. I might go slightly a little bit more towards an Eastern backhand, but I don't go all the way over. What I will do, I guess one of the things I can tell you about is one of my first mental reminders when I miss my first serve is to make sure that my grip tension is super loose. I mean, the first thing I tell myself after I miss a first serve is relax, right? I mean that in terms of the things we've already talked about. Relax. Don't worry about double faulting. Relax. Don't worry about the thing sitting up. Relax. Don't worry that it's going to come back, because it most likely is. And all of those reminders for me are to make sure my grip tension is not tight. And look, if you get too much grip tension, even if you've got the perfect hand placement, and I think everyone's hands are built slightly anatomically a little bit differently. So yours might be a complete Eastern backhand. Some guys I've seen with, all the way over to an Eastern forehand. I know that sounds crazy, but I've seen it and they serve lights out. I'm more of a continental. I'm kind of more of a continental hybrid Eastern backhand grip guy. And for me, that just feels right. The other thing too is I would encourage, if you're thinking about racket speed, make sure that you've got your hand down low on the racket handle. I see too many players kind of choke up, they get higher, and that just slows it down, right? The whole thing with the fulcrum and all that, all those kinds of physics things, It doesn't work if you choke up, and it doesn't work if you get too grippy and too strong. And lots of players go negative on that mindset, and that's tension, and now that gets into your hand. So if that's happening to you, maybe the first thing you can tell yourself missing that first serve is to relax. Just stay loose. All right, guys. Well, listen, thanks for hanging out with me today. Love this. I really love this. This is a lot of fun for me. Hope you guys got something from it. And again, any more comments after I log off here, I'm gonna check back and I will definitely respond to them. If you want to shoot me an email, that's fine too. Brent@webtennis.com. Would love to hear any feedback you've got and any ideas you've got for a live video that would be helpful for you. So guys, on that, as always, thanks for hanging out with me. Get out there today and help someone else have a spectacular day. Guys, we'll do this again soon. Thanks very much.